Feeling like you're stuck in a rut can lead to a lack of creativity or inspiration, especially as a creative, which we all are now, right? It's 2023. Everybody is a creator in some way. But when our creativity is not creativiting, then there's going to be a lack of inspiration to follow. When there's a lack of inspiration, there's a lack of movement, which means that you're stuck. All right, if you've been paying any attention to trending topics in the health and wellness space, gut health is climbing the ranks as one of the most important things for you to consider if you want to improve multiple areas of your life. Before I talk about what I'm using to keep my gut health in check, I want to be clear. The best way to support your gut is to introduce it to a diverse group of fiber-rich foods. But let's be honest. The lives that we live can make this really hard, and just because it's difficult doesn't mean you need to suffer the consequences of poor gut health. Now, there are several products out there that claim they improve your gut health, but the one that I use is backed by years of research, uses clean ingredients, and is super easy to implement into my daily routine. I'm talking about Supergut. Supergut has 3 products that make it easy to get more fiber into your diet. One is a plain fiber mix that you can mix into just about anything. Something I've mixed into oatmeal, pancakes, cornbread. Each serving has 8 grams of fiber, and it's a nice way to sneak in more fiber without it changing the taste or texture of your food. The Supergut bar is a great replacement for your favorite granola bars, and it has 10 grams of fiber. Those are delicious, and they make for a great snack. And lastly, the Supergut shake. This shake will have you full for hours. More importantly, the prebiotic fiber is feeding the good bacteria in your gut. So while you're on the go, it's one less thing you have to worry about. Implementing one of those 3 products into the daily routine keeps my fiber intake right where I need it to be. And the benefits are hard not to notice. So here's the bottom line. If you want to do one thing that comes with a multitude of benefits, look no further than improving your gut health. And I highly suggest you do that with Supergut. Check out the link in the show notes of our podcast for more, or you can head to supergut.com. Hey, you guys, my name is Austin, and you're tuned in to the Culture of Health podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about the signs that you're feeling stuck in life and how you can get yourself unstuck. Mental health is is declining at alarming rates right now. And a lot of that has to do with our health. More importantly, it has a lot to do with our habits. The tricky thing about feeling stuck is that you feel stuck, and it's really hard to work yourself out of that because you have to, first of all, become aware of the fact that you are where you are. And then after finally accepting the fact that you're stuck, it just takes a lot of grit and hard work to pull yourself out of the situation that you're in, the feeling, the mood that you're in. So we're going to talk about 8 ways that you can know that you're feeling stuck in life. And then I'm going to give you guys 5 practical tips to dig yourself out of that rut, as well as one swift kick in the butt that might help you realize that at the end of the day, it all boils down to you. So let's just jump right in, you guys. First of all, when it comes to being in a rut, I have so much personal experience with this, especially as somebody who is naturally happy. I didn't have to learn how to become happy until I was an adult. I didn't have to learn how to be happy on purpose until I went through enough things where I wasn't defaulting to the happy self that I normally am. A good example of that is when we lost our full investment on the trampoline park that we opened. And if this is your first time hearing about that, you can go back 1 episode and listen as I break down the full story and talk about how it impacted me at a mental level. But in short, if you haven't listened to that episode, we lost $1 million, over $1 million, from investing in a trampoline park. And after that happened, I felt stuck when it came to productivity and what I felt like my goal was just to be an entrepreneur. Completely stuck. And when I give you guys these 8 signs, just know I felt every single one of them. So, I'm not speaking to you guys from a high horse. I'm not talking to you from someone who has never been in a rut. This isn't a personal development workshop from, some guru who is worth $20 million. This is somebody who's still figuring things out, but I've come far enough along the way in my own journey to where I can pull other people up with this information that I'm about to share with you. So, first of all, when you are stuck in a rut, just stuck in life, the most important thing that you have to do is accept it, acknowledge it, and accept the fact that you are in a rut. Because especially as a man, one of the things that we like to do is be like, oh, I'm good. You like to shrug it off. Don't be in denial about the fact that you are where you are. Because if you're in denial about it, then you're not going to start doing the things to dig yourself up out of it. So these are some common signs that someone may be in a rut, and there are a few ways how it can impact your health. The first sign is feeling stuck or trapped. Being in a rut, feeling stuck can often lead to a sense of being trapped or unable to move forward. This can manifest in many different ways. For me personally, when I get stuck in a rut, it's really difficult for me to visualize the future in an optimistic way. Especially if there's anxiety baked into that, then it's really hard for me to see beyond the next couple of days. And that's usually because there are a series of things that I know that I'm supposed to be doing that aren't getting done, which I'll touch on later. But they create anxiety for me, and I can't see past the period of time that these things are supposed to be done. And so that's how I know when I have that feeling, I know that I'm feeling stuck, and it's time for me to implement some strategies to get myself unstuck. The second sign is a lack of motivation. You might be feeling unmotivated or lacking energy to do the things that you used to enjoy. They say that you shouldn't rely on motivation alone to get things done, but motivation is a strong motivator when it comes to doing the things that we're supposed to do on a daily basis to be happy. And when you're feeling unmotivated or lacking energy because you feel stuck, then you can kind of see how it turns into a cycle of I'm feeling stuck, so I don't have the motivation and I don't have the energy. And then when you lack motivation and you lack energy, you get more stuck. And then it turns into this cycle that just repeats itself and it doesn't serve you well. So lack of motivation. The third one is a lack of creativity. Feeling like you're stuck in a rut can lead to a lack of creativity or inspiration, especially as a creative, which we all are now, right? It's 2023. Everybody is a creator of in some way, but that creative bone in our body, when our creativity is not creativiting, then there's going to be a lack of inspiration to follow. When there's a lack of inspiration, there's a lack of movement, which means that you're stuck. Another sign is negative self-talk, being critical or negative about yourself or your situation. Another one that I've experienced is feeling unfulfilled, feeling like you're not achieving your goals or living up to your potential. Again, I'm going to circle back to this one. Another one is feeling overwhelmed. It's feeling like you have too much on your plate and unable to handle everything. So there's actually too much. I mean, there's actually is such a thing as having too much on your plate. But then there's feeling like you have too much on your plate, especially when you really don't. I know me personally, like when I'm feeling stuck, I may have just one or two things that are on my plate, but if I feel stuck, then what's on my plate is still too much. So your feelings of being overwhelmed, like, don't just write it off as saying, oh, well, I have a bunch on my plate. Like, no, you might be feeling stuck, and that's causing you to feel overwhelmed, and it's causing you to think that what you are currently managing is too much. Whereas if you would unstick yourself, then you could have the same amount of stuff on your plate and you could be eating it up. You may not feel like it's overwhelming for you. Another sign, 7, is insomnia or sleeping too much. One or the other. Changes in sleep patterns can be a sign of feeling stuck or overwhelmed. And then last but not least is loss of appetite or overeating. Any changes in eating patterns can also be a sign of feeling stuck. So these are all signs that you can use to gauge whether or not you're stuck. And these are good for you to pay attention to, because being stuck doesn't always look like what you think it does. Sometimes it can creep up on you with the lack of creativity, or maybe like a loss of appetite. In my case, it's loss of appetite. But in your case, maybe it's overeating. These are signs that oftentimes go unaddressed and can eventually lead to us feeling even more stuck because we're not doing the things to overcome them. So with that being said, let's talk about 5 practical tips to dig yourself out of a rut. The first one is get moving. And this is completely rooted in physical health, whether it's through exercise, a walk in nature. Or it could be dancing to your favorite song. Moving, especially dancing to your favorite song, actually. Moving can improve mood, increase energy, and reduce stress and anxiety. And there's evidence to back this up, you guys. Exercise has been shown to boost mood and reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression by increasing levels of endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin in the brain. Exercise can also reduce level of stress hormone cortisol, leading to a reduced stress and overall health. A study published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine found that just 20 minutes of moderate exercise can have an immediate brain boosting effect. So you can literally unstick yourself by unsticking yourself. Does that make sense? You got to get moving, you guys. The second tip to unstick yourself, to feel unstuck, is to connect with others for social health. This was one of the primary drivers of poor mental health outcomes during the pandemic. If you guys were around in 2020, which if you listen to this, unless you're 3 years old and, just well advanced for your age, you were around during the pandemic, and you remember when it was, the directive was to flatten the curve, to stay inside, don't see anybody, don't talk to anybody. Okay, so, you could talk to people over the phone or FaceTime, but there's 6 feet of distance. Social connection was slashed dramatically from 2020 on. And I think that we're just now seeing the ramifications of that because, again, the lack of social connection is one of the primary drivers of poor mental health. And it's also a cause of death. When you look at seniors who get older and they stop moving around as much, they stop having friends, they get lonely, they begin to deteriorate quicker. And so this isn't just happening to people that are older and more susceptible to death. Like, we are all, even myself at 31, disconnecting myself from being social. It's still causing a deterioration of my health, and it can cause you to feel stuck if you're not doing that. So please reach out to loved ones, you guys, or join a group to connect with others, because social connection can immediately reduce stress and improve mood. There is evidence to back this up. Social support has been shown to have numerous health benefits. A study published in the Journal of Psychosomatic Medicine found that social support was associated with lower levels of cortisol, suggesting that social connection can reduce stress. So that's tip number 2, you guys. Get out there and talk to people. Go dancing, okay? Go on dates. Just talk, connect, enjoy, celebrate the differences that you have with one another. The third tip, get off of social media and try something new. So this one is twofold. Let's talk about social media first. Getting on social media consistently throughout the day is known to fry your dopamine receptors. Every time you open up that phone and having instant access to dopamine, you may notice feelings of depression shortly afterwards. And that's oftentimes associated with the fact that we did nothing to earn the dopamine. The same way that we get dopamine from physical exercise, that's earned. Pulling up your phone and looking at your notifications, sure, that's a dopamine hit too, but is it one that's leading to good overall health? No, it's not. So get off the phone and try something new. Explore new hobbies, interests, or skills you've been curious about. Learning and trying new things can improve cognitive function, boost confidence, and reduce symptoms of depression. A study published in the Journal of Happiness Studies found that engaging in new experiences was associated with increased well-being and life satisfaction. What's up, you guys? Listen, even after I started taking my health seriously, there was still a ton of confusion on all the information out there about how I should be eating for better health. Sometimes I just say F it and start eating anything because nothing made sense. That is until I learned about Levels Health. Levels is building tech that helps people see how food is affecting their health by continuous glucose monitoring. The first 2 weeks of using their app completely blew my mind. I tried everything: pizza and wings, burgers and fries, steak and vegetables, 8 shots of alcohol. Yes, 8 shots. So when I tell you I tried everything, I tried everything. The benefit of seeing how different foods impact your blood sugar is that it gives you a level of awareness about your food that you've never had before. All of a sudden, you find yourself playing a game to see how long you can keep your blood sugar stable, and that game leads to several benefits. Playing that game helped me improve my sleep, gave me more energy, helped me stay focused throughout the day, and completely transformed my relationship with food. If you've been told conflicting things about nutrition, it might be time for you to ditch what everyone else is saying to tune into what your body is saying. And continuous glucose monitoring is currently, in my opinion, one of the best ways to do that. So if you want to see how your body is responding to your diet and lifestyle, visit the link in our show notes or head directly to levels.link/metabolism mentor. That's levels.link/metabolism mentor. Okay, real quick. We've all been stuck in a rut before, and one of the first things that goes is our commitment to our health. That probably sounds like you, huh? If you've been neglecting your health as a result of being in a rut, then it's likely taking a toll on your energy and motivation. And look, I understand firsthand how that happens, but there's no excuse for staying in that place. It starts with your mindset, but there's some follow-up action you can take to support the work you're doing mentally. Actions that support your body. One of the ways I like to do that is by drinking AG1 by Athletic Greens. AG1 is the ultimate daily all-in-one drink designed to give you a boost of energy, support your immune system, and even aid in your gut health. With 75 carefully selected ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and antioxidants, it's like a daily nutritional insurance policy. I take it first thing every single morning to start my day with the healthiest habit. When the day gets away from me, I have peace of mind knowing that I already met my basic nutritional needs before the day got busy. Now, I'm not guaranteed to avoid getting stuck in a rut just because I'm taking AG1 every single morning. But with all the many factors in life that could cause that, I know I can pretty much rule out any micronutrient deficiencies, which allows me to focus on other tools like mindfulness and exercise to keep myself in a positive state of mind. This is what it looks like to take ownership of your health. So, if you're ready to take ownership of your health, now is a good time to start. Athletic Greens is offering you a free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs to go along with your first purchase. Just go to athleticgreens.com/TCHP to take advantage of that exclusive offer. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/TCHP. So now we've gotten 3 tips down. Imagine if you stacked all 3 of these tips on top of one another. And I still got 2 more for you. But imagine you feel stuck in a rut. You don't know why. You don't know how to get out of it. But you start doing these things. These are proven scientific ways to boost your mood, improve cognitive function, increase your levels of creativity so that you can begin pulling yourself out of this mud that you're stuck in. Tip number 4 is to focus on gratitude for emotional health. Start a gratitude journal or practice daily gratitude to shift your focus from negativity to positivity. This is something that I do every single morning. I have a book, a journal that I use to write down goals and tasks in. And one of the things that I write down are affirmations and things that I'm gracious for. It always starts off with, I am grateful for whatever it is. I write 5 things. It could be random. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my ability to smile. I'm grateful for this podcast. Write down 5 things that you're grateful for every single morning, and then focus on seeing those things throughout the day. Because there's evidence to support this. Gratitude has been shown to have numerous emotional health benefits, including improved mood, increased resilience, and reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that practicing gratitude led to increased happiness and decreased symptoms of depression. If it isn't clear to you by now, when we talk about feeling stuck in a rut, oftentimes we are talking about anxiety and depression. Undiagnosed. It's undiagnosed anxiety or depression when you are feeling in a stuck place in life, especially if it's chronic and over an extended period of time. Tip number 5, set small goals for behavioral health. That means setting achievable goals that will help you progress towards larger goals, and then celebrate your accomplishments along the way. There's evidence to support this, you guys. Goal setting has been shown to have numerous benefits for mental health, including increased motivation, improved self-efficacy, and, you guessed it, reduced symptoms of depression. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that setting and achieving goals led to increased well-being and happiness. And I think the most important part about setting small goals is achieving small goals. Over the past 10 years, it's been a recurring theme for me to have found myself in a rut, and I do all the things, right? I start moving. I'm, married with a kid, and I live in a pretty busy neighborhood, so the social connection is there. I cut social media off. I start doing new things. I focus on gratitude. I set small goals. None of this works unless I'm achieving the goals that I set for myself. And you may be different. I'm not pushing this off onto you, but I can be doing all the things. The most important thing is tip number 5, setting small goals and achieving them. Because whether you realize it or not, your body, my body, our bodies, they're like machines. It's just like a computer. And the output, which is how we feel, is heavily dependent on the input, which means like the things that we're doing to self-actualize, following those tips that I just mentioned. If you focus on the inputs, then you can expect a more promising output. So if you're unhappy with the output, if the output is depression, anxiety, or you feeling stuck, that means that the inputs are off. You didn't get there out of it wasn't like luck or unluck. It wasn't just happenstance. It's a culmination of whatever you're doing that has led you to feeling stuck. So follow those 5 tips, and one by one, you'll see how each of those empower you to pull yourself out of a rut. And then by the time you get to tip number 5, where you're setting and achieving small goals, forget about it. Forget about it. Because once you start achieving small goals, that officially means you are unstuck. But start with small goals and work your way up to the bigger ones. Now, if none of that is true, if none of that resonates with you, that means that you may require a more hardcore approach, which is sometimes an approach that I have to take with myself. Now, I need you to realize something. The likely truth about you feeling stuck or you being in a rut is the simple fact that you suck and you need to be better. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's true. In many cases, the anxiety, the depression, the feeling of you being stuck is because your habits stink and you suck at doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing. You're writing down goals and you're not getting them done. You're addicted to your phone and you haven't broken the habit of picking it up every 5 to 10 minutes. You set goals in business or at work life and you're dropping the ball on multiple projects. Of course you feel stuck. How could you feel good about yourself if you're not operating at your potential? How could you feel good about yourself if you're letting yourself down? And so sometimes it's helpful to realize and admit that you suck. You stink. And I say that with so much love because I've had to have that tough conversation with myself. I have notes that I've written to myself and they are not pretty. It's, you are trash right now. And deep down inside, I don't think that I'm talking to the best version of myself. I'm talking to the sorry, undisciplined, unmotivated, stuck version of myself, which is a version of ourselves that we all have. And it's okay to suppress that person, to push that person back down, to tell that person who's boss, who's in charge. You are the person who wants to feel fulfilled, the person who wants to set small goals and accomplish them, the person who wants to feel unstuck, the person who wants to make money at will, the person who wants to take care of their family. That's the person who's in charge. And that's the person that needs to be spoken to. No matter how well you take care of your health, even if you're doing the many things mentioned in this episode, you're still not exempt from the fact that sometimes in life, stuff happens. We get sick, we have accidental injuries, and there's not much we can do to prepare for these moments because it's not like we know they're coming. One thing you should do in case of an unexpected illness or injury is have health insurance. Now, if you have a career, this is likely covered by your job, but there are hundreds of thousands of people, just like me, who don't work a traditional job but still need coverage. You'd assume that it's automatically going to be more expensive and have fewer benefits, but I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Thanks to my experience with Access Benefit Consultants. They're one of the partners of this podcast, and because of them, my family has affordable coverage with benefits that are comparable to what you'd find from a company-sponsored plan. All I had to do was reach out to an agent, answer a few questions about my family size and income, and in less than an hour, I was presented with a quote and had an option to enroll. Insurance has always been boring and confusing to me, and while it's still kind of boring, Access took the confusion out of the process for me, and I'll forever be grateful. If you have questions about your health coverage, or if you don't have any at all, I think you should reach out to Access Benefit Consultants. Go to accessbenefits.com for a free quote, or you can fill out the contact form on their website, and one of their agents will be in touch with you in no time. Again, that's Access, AXXESS, benefits.com. So after you realize that you in this current state of being stuck is not good enough, now it's time to feed the version of yourself that is good enough. Feed it with the right social connections. Feed it with enough exercise. Feed that person with new experiences, with gratitude. Feed that person small goals to accomplish. That's the name of the game when it comes to getting unstuck. It's you realizing you deserve more and equipping yourself with the tools to pull yourself out of it. Again, those 5 practical tips to dig yourself out of a rut are exercise, social connection, new experiences, focusing on gratitude, and setting small goals. That's it, you guys. It sounds so much simpler than it is, because one of the worst things about being in a rut is you not wanting to do anything to get out of it. It almost feels good to stay there, right? It almost feels good to stay stuck, because at least you have an excuse for not being the best that you know you can. At least you have a reason for not hitting your potential. And that reason is that you're stuck. And as long as you're stuck, you have something to lean on that makes you feel good about the status of your life. But that is a lie, if you've ever heard one. It's a lie. And it's important to remember that. Feeling stuck is not only terrible for your mental health, but it can also impact your physical health, you guys. And so it's important to know that by following those tips and giving it some time and effort, you can overcome those feelings of being stuck. It's important for you to prioritize your health along the way. It's important for you to be intentional about it. And it's important for you to acknowledge the habits that got you there in the first place so that you can actually do something about them. Again, you guys, my name is Austin McGuffey. This is the Culture of Health podcast. Make sure you guys like the podcast on whichever platform you're listening on. Share it with a friend who might also feel stuck, and go back and listen to some of the other episodes and find one that resonates with you, because I guarantee you one exists. And the more you listen to this podcast, naturally you will begin to prioritize your health in ways that you previously were not doing. And I look forward to being a part of your journey. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys on the next episode.